Oh my gosh. All right, we need a couple viewers on here to kick things off. We got 0 viewers. Gonna open up this session, guys, for a little Q&A. Not sure what that stands for, but that's what we're doing for subscribers. So once you tune in, let me know where you're tuning in from, and if you have any questions or if you have any answers, this is a question and answer segment. Feel free. I think we're hooked up to the interweb, but I'm not sure. We're almost. Oh, there we go. We got some people tuned in. There we go. Otter Tail County, Minnesota's tuned in. First one. Woodchuck Man, welcome. Nice. Nick's there. Enduro. East Tahue, Enduro. Utah Mike, there he is. Congratulations on your retirement. Ethan James. What's up, Joe? What are the chances of a remake or second shot of the West Grand Slam series this year? Pretty good. Pretty good chance of that. A remake or another chance at it, yeah. Once ain't enough, whitetail. So I got a bunch of stuff coming in, guys. I'm going to try to get to everybody. If I miss you, just type it in again if you have a question or anything like that. But just doubled up on Fisher at 4-quarter Brook. Ha, FBM. All right, we're live. Guys, I'm working on a new intro. Let me know what you think of this one. Ready? Hello, everybody. Joe here from FBM Maine Outdoor Journal. Mildred's over there. Wait, let me do that one more. Hello, everybody. Joe here from FBM Maine Outdoor Journal. What do you guys think? Should I go with that? Nick wants to know what's in the mug. So this is actually emergency. Yeah, so hot water with emergency to pump that vitamin C to me, so I'm not sick or anything like that. Alan wants to know when Double D's gonna make an appearance. Not sure if that's David Dudley or 3 ex-girlfriends ago. But if it's Dudley, then possibly next week. Somebody just got their first set of jack traps. Who was that? James Clements? No. Yoda 67 got their first set of jack traps. Nice. Congratulations. That's a great purchase. Sledding. Right now, somebody just asked how the sledding is. It's pretty amazing. Today we saw a low of like 6 inches of snow and a high of almost knee high, so 15 inches. So we were anywhere from 15 to 6 inches with an average probably 12 inches of snow. It's super powdery, super frozen and powdery, so you can do a little bit of plowing, and the skis don't always grab, but man, you could just feed her the corn and go, and it's a lot of fun. So the sledding's going amazing. We pulled roughly, I got CJ up here, one of the trapping partners, and he's got a couple lines out, and we are so excited because tomorrow is going to be first check on at least one of the lines, and I'm just pumped for CJ to pop some marten and hopefully a fisher. But yeah, we had about 500 and some odd pounds on the sled. The box is full, and then we're towing the Brandon box, and it doesn't have a good bottom on it, so that makes it even harder to tow. And we had about 600 pounds in that. And we're going up grades about like that steep with tire ruts buried in. So you're trying to keep it straight and going like this and stopping. And man, the sled just performed incredibly. It's awesome having a great sled, and it's awesome having like a new sled too. Lindsay Marie Burke, I didn't know that you had the internet up at your place in the middle of nowhere. Yep, I got Starlink, and most of the time it's working pretty good. I got it up on the roof now. So as long as the generator's running, that runs the router and the Starlink, the motor inside the Starlink. And if we can connect to the satellites, then we are linked to the stars. So that's how I upload all my YouTube videos is through the Starlink, and that's why I have it. Alan wants to know if you have to get a permit from the North Maine woods to trap. So the only thing you'd need a permit for would be, 1, if you're putting up a tree stand, and 2, if you're going to have a bear bait site to trap bear. then you would need a permit for that. But otherwise, just regular trapping, you're good to go. As long as you follow the main game laws and you have your tag on your trap and so on. Whitetail says Dudley's always good to see. He sure is. Lindsay Marie Burke says, when is Donnie going to be back? Donnie's going to be back in the middle of March. But lucky for you guys, he has an iPhone now, and he's really trying to figure it out, and I'm working with him on that. And he's sending me videos, and we're going to do updates from where he is in Canada for the winter, and I'm going to update you guys, the viewers, from his trip. So FBM Maine Outdoor Journal wants to know if the perch slayer is still in camp. Is the perch slayer still in camp? Still here, buddy. Ottertail County Adventures. Do you ever have the itch to tournament fish again? Not much. I proved all I could prove in Maine and like the region where I fish, and it's just like a backwards thing now. And when this is gonna be me talking like an old timer, is when I tournament fished, the competitors all had a lot of respect for each other here in Maine, because we're fishing a lot of the same lakes over and over and over, and they're the same spots over and over and over. And people used to be very respectful on not stealing other people's spots and stuff like that. And then when the younger guys came up, it was all about just running other people's spots. And when you did well and you got to like the top in the state, you had a lot of people just following you around and trying to fish the same spots, and it made it harder to compete. But it didn't bother me that much doing that. It just bothered me seeing people not work hard and just try to take the easy route. So I kind of got a little gritted up over tournament bass fishing, and honestly, I just love pulling out of my dooryard now and thinking, well, I could go left or I could go right. I could go catch perch. I could go catch sunfish. I could go catch striped bass. I could go catch cask. I could go catch trout, salmon, and not have to worry about winning the next tournament. So probably won't do much for tournaments. I almost fished one last year with Dudley. We were doing some smallmouth fishing on a lake before a tournament, and we had it pretty well dialed in, figured out, and we were thinking about joining, but we didn't end up doing. So Star Clips tuning in from Augusta, Maine. How much did the buck weigh behind you? So that one, I think, was 190. The one next to it, field dressed at 236. That one right there. And that one's the one that ironically was shot. I shot that one at 236 yards, open sights, and it ended up field dressing to 236 pounds. So that was kind of ironic. So pretty lucky shot. But if I had a Rick Labby grunt call, then I probably could have shot that at about 400 yards. So, yeah. So, Lindsay wants to know when the ice will be good. Well, I can tell you one thing, Lindsay. One beaver flowage had good ice on it, and another one I got underneath the ice to see if it had good flowage. Yesterday I fell through, went almost waist deep, filled up the boots. So beaver trapping's a lot of fun. I just busted my buddy's stones. He loves beaver trapping. I'm trying to convert him into a Martin and Fisher trapper. But it actually is fun. Like, the only fur, we checked maybe a dozen traps today, Martin and Fisher, that we pulled because they were just out there, needed to be brought back in. And the only fur we caught was a beaver. We got a nice little beaver today. So as far as ice goes, this year has been tremendous. We got a really tough warm-up day coming on Friday where I heard it's supposed to be like 51 degrees and get a ½ inch of rain. So that's not going to, I mean, that'll help things maybe in the long run for making ice. You know, if you get that snow level back down and take that insulating layer off the top of the ice, then there's a pretty good chance that you'll form more ice. But man, it's been really cold. So Whitetail says the snow is going to take a beat in the Gardner area. Friday's almost 50 in rain. Yeah, so I think we're going to get that up here in the North Maine woods on Friday too. So what they're calling for. But the weird part is Friday night's supposed to be 15 degrees. So it's going to drop quick. And if it's a late rain or it's pushed back later in the day and it's 15 degrees, I doubt it's going to be rain. So we might get pounded with some snow Friday. So guys, I'm gonna try to get caught up and keep up with some of these comments and stuff. So if I missed a question, feel free just to put it back in there, and I'll get to it as soon as I see it. Yep. So all right. So I'm down at the bottom now. So Paul Presto wants to know what state we're in. We're in Maine. I'm in northern Maine right now. I'm at my off-grid trapping cabin in the North Maine woods. Slapping 18. Question. What's the stuff you rub on the trees above your trap? That's a long distance call. So it's basically a Vaseline base with a skunk essence in it. Mega Mad Trapper said it was 7 degrees Celsius here today, been negative 20 for the last 2 weeks or so. Not sure what the exchange rate is on that, but it sounds cold. Mountain Man says stay safe out there from New Jersey. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Tubby says there's rain coming in Thursday for us, but dropping like a rock overnight, so it should be okay. That's what I'm thinking, guys. I hope it's not a repeat of last year. Last year we had like anywhere from 15 to 20 inches of snow, and we got 3 inches of rain in like 2 warm days. And not only did it wash most of the snow away, but it washed most of the roads away up here and just made getting around wicked tough. CJ and I put out, I'd call it 3 lines. I think 3 trap lines we put out all by snowmobile. So I'm hoping we don't lose all the snow. Now, 2 of those lines we'll be able to get to by truck with chains, 4-wheel drive chains and everything, if worse comes to worse. But one of them we're not going to be able to get to. So Tim Lowe Jr. wants to know how much ice up that way. We've had, what would you say, 4 or 5 inches on that first beaver flowage? Yeah, about 4 or 5 inches. I bet the lakes are a little bit less, but it's looking pretty good. Making a lot of ice every day. Chris Trott, any big ice fishing trips planned? Yeah, I don't really have them like laid out or planned. I'm more of a shoot from the hip kind of guy, and just base it on weather and you know where the ice is good and stuff. But yeah, I'm planning a lot of ice fishing this winter. East Grand, West Grand. I'd like to get onto Ross Lake, Moosehead, Chamberlain Lake Chain, maybe up as high as Eagle. Definitely a little bit on Sebago if that buttons up, and then hit a lot of small ponds with my buddy CJ for some panfish, and might get into some muskie again. It's been a bunch of years since I ice fished muskie, and that was a lot of fun for me. So I might do some off-grid winter ice camping on some musky bodies of water this winter. Would be a lot of fun. Woodchuck Man, what do you like better, trapping, ice fishing, or hunting partridge? Oh boy, so I like eating partridge. That's up on the top of the list. I love ice fishing, but there's nothing better to me than trapping and running the trap line, and so trapping's my number one answer on that. But that's a good question. Thank you. PA trapping, Vaseline, skunk, and what else? A lot of love, PA trapping. But no, that's all you need. That's all you need in there. Straight skunk, if you can get it yourself, and get it from the south end of a northbound skunk. Nick wants to know, how come you don't have a dog? We were just talking about that. Like, literally, the last thing we talked about before the live, because CJ's got a pile of dogs, and he was thinking about bringing one up, but man, it'd be tough, because we're on a snowmobile, and he and I are just getting beat right to heck, putting 110 miles on the snowmobile a day, rough terrain, and you couldn't bring a dog. There's no way you could bring a dog on that, and it just wouldn't be fair to the dog unless it was a really small dog and you were able to like put it in the box, and it still wouldn't really be fair to that dog. So you'd have to leave it in camp. I could have a dog. In camp. It just hasn't worked out. Hasn't happened yet. No reason not to, and no reason to, I guess. So Paul Presto says, how much do lobsters cost in Maine? Lewiston lobsters, I think, are trading for like $4.99 a pound right now at the Hannaford. And then regular lobster this time of year is probably going to be $8 to $10 a pound, dock price, but I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to get a bunch of lobstermen tearing me up in the comments probably, but that's all right. Spencer caught some brookies this weekend in South Berwick. Very nice. Congratulations. John Porter's tying flies tonight and listening to the live. Thanks for tuning in, John. Jeff Outdoors said, hey, Joe, Ohio. Got family up here there on Sebago. Couldn't believe that diver going for that sled at 175, 176 foot. Amazing. Yeah. I don't know if you guys haven't got a chance to see that video yet. And it's done extremely well, so most people have probably seen it. It was still one of the most incredible things I've seen in the outdoors. And I cannot say enough about Greg Canders, the diver, and just how wonderful of an attitude he had, and a winning attitude, and just positivity, and just telling jokes and putting everybody at ease, but then also really focused on safety and keeping everybody safe and no one getting hurt and making sure everybody came back alive. You know, he had the dangerous job. We didn't really have anything dangerous going on, but just an awesome, awesome job. And I hope that I did him justice in the video and did a good enough job putting that video together. I had about 9 hours of editing into that video, believe it or not. Editing takes a long time, and then that one took an extra long time because I had the live scope footage, I had a different camera angle, and I had a couple different cameras going, so it took quite a bit to put that all together. I did leave some stuff out just because, you know, you can't get too crazy with these videos, but yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed that video and commented and gave a little love to Greg the diver. JP Tapley, what are your Christmas plans? Christmas plans are probably just getting up and getting on that snowmobile and running the trap line. Trapping season goes till January 1st or till the end of December, so I'll be running the trap line till the end of it. And I don't know if anybody's going to be in camp or not for Christmas. Yeah, I don't know. There's been a couple people that mentioned that they want to come up for that time of the year, but I don't know if they'll make it up for Christmas or not. FBM Maine Outdoor Journal is heading over to Presskizzle to get a couple mules. I think, check with him. I think he might be dropping off some Martin again at the Chinese food. No, just kidding. At the Chinese place. FBM Maine Outdoor Journal's got a great channel. If you guys missed it, we shot a couple episodes together, and get over and check his channel out. He's got a couple different takes on it. It was a lot of fun. Yoda says Brassall Lake and Rockwood has 5 inches, so that's awesome. So Moosehead's got to be getting pretty close too. Nick said we had 4 to 7 inches here in central Maine, so yeah, it's ready to go out ice fishing, guys. Might not be ready for the machines. Be careful bringing snow machines out there early, but 4 to 7 inches, you should be able to walk around pretty good and ice fish most places you want to. Chris is excited for the ice fishing stuff. Next couple nights, I got some pretty cool ice fishing episodes coming up for you guys from East Grand. We got lake trout, salmon, cusk, and 3 different nights of it. So I think you guys are gonna enjoy those. Hopefully you enjoy them, but pretty cool ice fishing stuff. Jay Bird Outdoors, he caught the no hit in the last couple episodes. Thank you. Thanks for that comment. I thought it was pretty hilarious. I went and took the audio from Joe Osgood telling me about his no-hit story when we don't catch anything in one of the traps. No hit. And then I just dubbed it in whenever I didn't catch anything. So it's a lot better than me getting all wound up and upset that I don't have anything and say, nothing here, nothing. It's a lot better than that. Tired Redneck, that was a sweet fisher you got yesterday. Absolutely, yeah. The fish have been awesome this year. Yep. ND Mike, are you going to try diesel heater this year? Yes, I am. Yep, I'm going to try diesel heater this year, finally. Haven't really had a lot of luck with the other stuff, and if I can't get the diesel heater to work, or I was even wondering about a pellet stove, then I'll just go no heat and stop worrying about all that stuff. Chris Trott said he's good buddies with Brandon. Hope to see a good collab. Yeah, we'll definitely collaborate. I think Brandon's going to have a little bit of time to get out and ice fish and do some good trips, and seems to seems to always be able to get on some good ice fishing trips. So, yep. Ashton Outdoors brother says hello. Hello, Ashton's brother. Tubby guy says, I've got to ask the question no one wants to. What do you do for an outhouse when ice camping? Use the woods. Yeah. If you're in an area that's not wilderness, then you could bring a bucket and bags, and use a bucket and a bag. But for the most part, just you could use the woods. Star Clip said diesel heaters, highly recommended. Spencer says, where do you ice fish for muskie? So I ice fish for muskie in Maine, and I think there's 3 or 4 places now you can do it, but the river, I think it's St. John River at the very top of the state, out of basically Fort Kent and Allagash, the town of Allagash. Above that, so Glacier, Bow, and then there's 2 or 3 other small lakes, they call it, but they're part of the river, and you're allowed to ice fish for muskie there. And sadly, there's no limit or size limit on muskie, so you can keep whatever, and they do use them for derbies and weigh in 20 to 30 pounders up there quite often. Polaroid white. How do you set your brook trout sets? So those ones, you got to check out my videos. Just type in the Moosehead series, because that's almost always going for brook trout. And I give you all the secrets, all the tips and tricks. But on here, I usually do semi-light line, anywhere from 6 to 10 pound test, fluorocarbon, short leader, like 2 to 4 foot, because I'm only fishing 2 to 4 foot basically. Then I run it to a swivel. Pretty much just like a number 1 or 2 Gamakatsu hook, and then whatever you're going to use for bait. A lot of times I use worms for bait for brook trout under the ice, and yeah, that's how I do it. All that rigged to a jack trap. Mike Charbonneau, I've never fished a lake from the cabin yet, so we're hoping to fish some this year, and a lot of that's just going to depend on how the snowmobiling is. 350 Mac, tuning in from Vermont. Thanks for tuning in. SBS Fishing Game. Liam and Joe's friend, and they are out on the trap line with you and Liam are actually really good friends. Nice. Jimmy said, just pick some up today from the Hannaford at $9.99 a pound. Andy Mike, you can tell Diver Greg is a good dude, super positive guy. Yeah, man. Unbelievable how cool that guy is. And just the amount of courage he had to do that. There's not many people that had that courage. And there's not many people that have the skills and just the intestinal fortitude to pull off a dive like that. And he did it. Yeah, he was in his 70s and had a broken arm. And he was 71 years old last year when he did it. Had a broken arm, and he couldn't get a hard cast on his broken arm because a hard cast wouldn't fit inside of his wetsuit. So he showed up with a soft cast that he could remove and then slide the broken arm into the wetsuit. It's crazy. Crazy how can-do attitude this guy had. Yep. Arthur Tennant, have you noticed any bull moose dropping yet? Yes, we found 3 today, big piles of bull moose dropping in the snow. But no, we haven't, no antlers dropping yet, if that's what you were talking about. And we've been seeing, I think we saw 6 moose today and a few yesterday, and then I saw 3 really nice bulls together a couple days ago, and they all still had their headgear. So nothing dropping yet. You can get them this early. Usually just after Christmas is a really good time to start looking, but people been looking. So I'm going to try to get caught up on some comments here, guys. Walleye Hunter Joe, how many miles and animals on that SUV of yours need to get a new pickup? Absolutely. I'm at, I think, 402,000 miles right now. The amount of animals and fish that have been in it would probably put a zoo out of business. I don't even know how many. Lot. Throw deer right on the roof, coyotes on the roof, and then everything else inside for the most part. I pulled out, I think, 2 moose with it this year. Berlin saying hello from Minnesota. Very good, thank you. Appreciate that. Polaroid white. Rockwood looked wide open from the cameras 2 days ago. Yeah, I mean, the big lakes probably take a little bit longer to freeze, but the nice part is that water temp's getting really good temperature. 350 max and 55 in Vermont for Friday and 1 inch of rain. Such a bummer. Yeah, sounds like that's what we're going to get too, but never know. We'll see what we end up getting. So SBS Fish and Games, friends with Liam and Joe, must be from FBM Maine Outdoor Journal. Very good. Robert Lord, no, I've never hunted in Canada. Woodchuck Man wants to know what auger to suggest for the cordless drill. Either the Ion lower or the Eskimo pistol bit. You can go up to 10-inch with those. I haven't tried any other ones for a long time, but the pistol bit is pretty awesome on the drill, either 8 or 10-inch. And Mike was looking at the pellet stoves. Supposedly they burn all night. I know. We'll see. We'll see. A lot of people asking to see these wall mounts. A bunch of just deer with big, wide, thick antlers is all it is, guys. No big deal. Just deer. All right. John Porter says Joe Osgood is a riot, especially checking stale traps and the no-hit. Yeah, we had a lot of fun, man, and he brought a lot of luck because those were pretty stale trap line, and we had like 2 or 3 traps that didn't have fur in it, so it was a tough day of trapping. I don't think he's used to that, so yeah, we had a lot of fun. Joe's a good guy. I'm excited to do some more stuff with him in the future. Boston Bass, any crappie trips coming? I believe some of the biggest crappie around are some you are catching. Yeah, there'll be crappie fishing for sure this winter. I don't know about trips, like as far as like a 2, 3, 4 day. There's just so many really good crappie bodies of water from around home or from down where I set up when I'm fishing with CJ, and then we just jump and hit different lakes. So yeah, there'll be crappie fishing for sure, and that's kind of a staple for my food for the winter. I eat a lot of crappie and share a lot of crappie with people in town. Mark Larson, is your truck fixed yet? Always good to see you. Thank you, Mark. Not yet. It's in the shop right now. I got news that the mechanic brought it in for an overnight to let it start thawing out because there was 8 inches of ice on the running boards and everything underneath was covered, and it's in pretty rough shape right now. I'm pretty hard on it, and it's really hard conditions, and I'm hoping my mechanic's able to use it and get to it. Right now, you can't really run a truck anyway up where we are. It's really hard going, and you wouldn't be able to run the trap line or set on a truck, so I'm back on snowmobile. Devin Bellis, do you ever do fishing derbies? I do not. I don't do any ice fishing derbies. I really don't support them, and I don't think that they're good for our fisheries in Maine. And I hate to see like a really old trophy fish that's been caught and released several times get killed so someone can win a pack basket. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Or to wipe out like all of the good fish in a lake, the big fish in a lake, so people can get a chance to win that pack basket and send a high school cheerleading team on a field trip to Boston for the weekend. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Zach wants to know how the new snowmobile's treating me. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I think pretty close to 600 miles now. The last probably 400 miles have been pretty tough. Really hard going, towing a lot of weight, towing an extra trapper, a full-size grown man, 2 of us on it, and like a box full with camera gear and everything else. So, we're putting it to the test. We're really testing it out. It feels tippy to me, especially, I got a full-size trapper behind me on it. And, when you hit that stuff that's like this or that, it's feeling tippy, but I've never once had one moment where at the end of the day I was like, man, we got lucky. We almost rolled, or it almost rolled here or there. So like, although it's feeling tippy a bunch of times, I think the word I was going to use today was it's wicked sticky. Like it sticks to the ground wicked good, even when it's feeling tippy. So like 100 times a day, I'm like, oh boy, gotta hold on, gotta lean, gotta try it. But it hasn't rolled yet. It's been awful sticky. So knock on wood. Other than that, crazy amount of power, better on gas than my last one for sure, and all sorts of power and speed and quiet and really, really comfortable ride, or at least from the driver's seat. I don't know about the back seat. So Yoda says, can you show how you set your traps with a rubber band? Yep. So check out my Instagram. If you go to Joe Holland Fishing on Instagram, I have a reel on that, and you can just check for my most popular one. I think that's my most popular one. And I may have shot it as a short too. So if you're on YouTube, you can just search for Joe Holland Fishing, ice fishing rubber band trick, and I show it pretty in depth. So CJ Harmon tuning in from the off-grid cabin. That's awesome. Oh, that's great. Will a big brookie break through the elastic shock stopper you use? I'm interested in trying that system. How much running line before the elastic? So those are great questions, and I'll get a little bit more into that, guys. I'll try to shoot another video or just maybe re-upload the one I had before. But so the rubber bands I'm using, or what do we call them? I like your term better. The elastic shock stopper. I like that better. Thank you for that, Greg. I'm going to probably steal that from you. But the ones I'm using are about an 8-pound test. So a fish that's over 8 pounds can break it. If he's under 8 pounds, they usually don't break it. So I've caught, or you can use the word cotton. I like when people use that because it's not really a word. But I've caught an 11-pounder on it, and it broke the rubber band. And I got there, and I was like, I thought I had a rubber band on this, and the thing was just winding, and it broke right through. But a big brookie, I've caught brookies up to 4 pounds on it, and they don't break it. But I like to give it, this is a question for Greg and anybody else on that rubber band trick for ice fishing now we're talking. I like to give it about anywhere from like 15 to 30 foot. I don't like to give it a whole lot because where I fish a lot, like if you're fishing Moosehead, that's what I'm drinking right there, guys. Immune, and the raspberry's by far the best. Emergency. It's like a hot tea, but it's really good tasting too. But yeah, so where I ice fish, like on Moosehead and a lot of the log drive lakes where they used to run log drives, there's a ton of wood on the bottom. There's dry kai on the bottom. There's a lot of stuff to get hung up on. And those brook trout are tremendous at getting hung up. And when a brook trout trips you, maybe when he feels the line or maybe not, he goes down and away. And then he swims left. And then he swims right. And your line is just a mess down there. And a lot of times it's sinking too. And it gets hung up. And you're fighting that fish, and you got to bring him around this log and around this log and around this stick. And if you guys watch my channel long enough, you've seen me go arm deep to try to get some of these out and pull it up. So I give them about 20, 30 feet, and they'll hit that rubber band. It sets the hook for you. So it sets the hook in the mouth before they swallow it, which is like a huge bonus of if you're catch and release like I am for most things. And then when they fight it, when that sets, it actually lifts them up. So they're fighting it up at the top. You know, they might try to dive down, but that line's not going to be laying on the bottom wrapping around stuff. And most of the time that line's up top and they're fighting up top and they're going around the hole like that. So it's, if you want to land more fish and not lose more fish and not lose more gear and tackle, and you want to keep your hands warm and not get cold and not have to mess around, re-rigging your tackle, re-rigging hooks, reeling in a fish and then resetting. Try the rubber band trick. It's the most amazing thing. Now, if you're cusk fishing, I don't give them any more than like 10 foot. I'll give a cusk a real short leash on that, and that's all you need. But for brookies, you know, you can run like 20, 30 before the rubber band, 15 in that range. Vapor says, my young man wants to attend Colby College in Waterville. Any suggestions on where to look for a home for me and my family? I'm interested in moose hunting. Never been. Yeah, so basically, if you're interested in moose hunting, you could live anywhere in Maine because it's a lottery system, and then you get told what zone you're allowed to hunt in. So if you're lucky enough to draw a permit, you're at the mercy of what zone that you also got put in, and then you're gonna go to that zone and hunt. But yeah, anywhere in that Waterville, south of Waterville, you know, I'd rather live way up north. I live in Jefferson for most of the year, which is a half hour from Augusta, and it's just they call it the mid coast region. Where we're near salt water, we're near some woods. It's just a beautiful area. So I don't think you can go wrong in Maine anywhere, especially if you're outside of some of the cities. ND Mike really wants a moose shed. Pretty tough to find here. ND Mike, send me an email and maybe I'll see what I can do about that. I have some at home, but I might be able to find some this year for you. So send me an email on that. Poverty Hill Adventures. Hello from Poverty Hill. I love that name. Oh man, a super chat just came in. Mark Larson. Man, thank you for the super chat. I want to see you get your truck back, buddy. Thanks for always sharing. Man, you are the best. Thank you, Mark. Mark, I've seen his name for a long time. I just found out he had a YouTube channel. And I checked it out, and he had a couple furs from the trap line on there, and it was awesome. So if you guys get a chance to get over, check out Mark J. Larson Outdoors on YouTube, and give him a little love. You know, if it's stuff that you like to watch, hit subscribe and check out his channel. So Magnus Magnum says, hi Joe, are you using a Loring 28-inch pack basket? So my pack basket is probably, it's a Loring. I got it at Jack Traps. I'd have to ask Sean, but it's probably 28, all a 28. If they make a little bit taller one, I think it is 28 because I have 26-inch traps. It might be, if they make like a 32, it might be a 32. Nick says, the old lady says you should get some lemon loaf tea. It tastes like lemon pie. That sounds amazing. I'll put it on my shopping list if I go out to the big city. Scott Merrill, hello from Vermont. How's the ice up there? Ice is forming. Yeah, we're in probably the 5-inch range, on average. Some of the beaver ponds don't have as much ice, and some do. Larry Marshall wants to know where I am. Larry, I really don't give out exactly where I am because I want to really try to keep my North Maine woods and my camp private. Is having a YouTube channel isn't private at all, and I try to share as much as I can with everybody. But as far as location goes, because then it becomes a destination for people, and then it just really, really messes up what I'm trying to accomplish up here and what I'm trying to accomplish for you guys on the channel. Duck Dog says, years ago I went out through Rockwood, and the yellow birch someone had grown there were pin straight and ready to make canoe holes. That's cool. Nice. Tug Life, what's your opinion on the Strike Master 20-volt auger? So I had a Strike Master, and like one of the first ones that came out, and it was great. No problems with it. I don't remember having any problems with it anyway. But I ended up giving it to some buddies to use, and they're still using it, I think. So, all right, I'm going to try to get caught up, guys. PA Trapping and Outdoors sent a super chat. Very good, thank you. ND Mike, how often do you typically get drawn for a moose tag? So, can't really answer that. If you get drawn, the first time I got drawn, you had to wait 2 years before you could put back in to draw again because they want to try to give everybody an equal chance or a fair chance. Now it's 3 years. So I've been drawn twice in probably 18 years of putting in. I've been drawn twice. So I have buddies that have been drawn more, and I've had friends who've never been drawn. So it's really hard to say. Thurlow Farmer says said hello. 3 o'clock Pollock says cheers. Whitetail says ND, not very. People have put in for years and not got drawn. Yeah, I think Donnie got drawn on a mercy tag. I think there's a thing. I don't know all the details, but there's a thing like if you've put in for X amount of years and built up enough points that you're guaranteed a permit next year. Does that sound right, CJ? Do you?
I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know either, but Donnie knew he was going to get a permit because he'd put in for since day one and gone over 20 years without getting a permit. Nick wants to know if I can get an Amazon delivered up here. So I think I can to the local post office. There's like a general delivery thing at one of the local post offices where they'll hold it for me. PA Trapping wants to know where I'm catching all these martin. Don't you worry about where I'm catching all these martin. No, I'm catching the martin in Maine, in northern Maine, in the North Maine woods. So I've caught martin in zone 1, zone 2, zone 4, zone 5. And I think that's it. Yeah, so those are the 4 zones where I've caught martin. Hi, Joe, would love to have a Fisher hat made. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a Fisher hat made too, out of the Fisher from this trap line. So, had a really cool thing on the trail cam from last night's video that I didn't even catch because I was like quick editing, getting the footage out for you guys. But CJ told me this morning, and then another viewer had mentioned it last night in the comments, and I haven't got to the comments yet. But if you guys watched last night's video, a martin went in a box to eat the bait and go through the trap. And there was a mouse already in there, like making a nest, because mice will frequent these boxes a lot to eat the bait. And the mouse went screaming out of there, running out of the side of the box where the martin can't get out. And the martin turned around, came out of the entrance, tracked it down, ran it down, and killed it, all on this trail cam footage, and brought it back and sat on the top of the box and ate it. And it's just really cool footage that I had. I'll try to make a short out of it, but if you guys get a chance to check out on last night's video on the trail cam footage, I think it was like before the deer or in between deer. That's a really cool event that the trail camera picked up. Jeff Day says hello, and hi to you and CJ, and good luck with the rain on Friday.
He's the guy who met us out on Lovewell that day.
Oh, nice. Jeff was?
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, we met you out on Lovewell. Oh, that's right, with a snowmobile came over?
Yeah.
Wicked nice guy. Thanks for tuning in, Jeff. CJ says hello. PA Trappin says there's a lottery system here to draw an elk tag. You know, I think I remember when you guys were allowed to start elk hunting again, and there weren't many. I hunted Pennsylvania one time back when Gary Alt was the biologist there, and I think he had a 3-point on one side for the deer herd. I don't know if you guys are still doing that or not. Nick's going to send some lemon loaf tea. Thank you. Lisa Burrish says good for Donnie. You guys that watch the channel a lot, I'm going to get you guys some updates from Donnie on his winter and his vacation, what he's doing. Some videos. He's been, excuse me, he's been sending some videos updating us, and I'm going to try to incorporate those with the videos I'm editing and give you guys some updates on how Donnie's doing. All right, there's Arthur Tennant said, if you're 65 years old and have 30 points, it gets you a moose permit. He did it 2 years ago. Very good. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Arthur, for that. Yeah. So if you're up to 30 points and 65 years old, you're guaranteed a moose permit.
Good info right there.
Yep. So Matt 59 says, headed to Chamberlain Lake in early February. Any tips for the lake would be greatly appreciated. I don't need any of your secrets given up, but any advice would be great. Yeah, no problem with that. The best thing I could do is just say go back and watch my Chamberlain Lake series. Like 7 days was one of them. I think I did a 10-day trip on the Chamberlain Lake chain, a 7-day trip. I have some that say Chamberlain Lake, but it gets slushy, gets wicked slushy. So that's the best advice I can give you. Brook trout, look for those bouldery shorelines with like points that go out, and you'll see big boulders on the shoreline, even with snow cover. And I really do well in that like 5 foot to 1 foot range on those brook trout up there. Worms work great, or shiners, light line, and then lake trout and whitefish are on that first drop. So you'll have like a long run on Chamberlain, a lot of points where it goes out like 100 yards, and it's like maybe 20 foot deep, and then it drops off sharp. That further out drop off, like the first significant drop off, is really good to focus on lake trout, and that's also a really good lake to fish up high for lake trout. You know, it's more than it might be. I don't know if there's smelt in there or what or why. Usually that means it's a smelt lake, but. Polaroid White said Zone 4 is the best zone. The Sodahunk Lake has some beautiful brookies. That it does. That it does. First time I ever fly fished was on the Sodahunk Lake. There's some really cool names in Maine for lakes and towns and everything else. A lot of the Native American names. David says, what would be your second choice for a long distance scent? I know skunk must be number one. Yeah, skunk's number one. I don't know what number two would be. Maybe a burning tire or something, you know, something that gets way out there that would get their curiosity. Probably weasel, like a weasel gland or a mink gland. Both those are super strong. I know would bring something in. ND Mike, he picked up on that trail cam footage. Thank you. So CJ and I got back today. We picked up 5 trail cameras off dead traps. And one of them has got me fired up. I'm going to lose sleep over it tonight. But we had a fisher, had his head in one of the boxes twice and just didn't go. And it was a trap I was really focusing on fisher. If you guys watch the channel, it was my double trap where I had 2 traps and 2 cameras. So I got this fisher from 2 different angles. And I might have said a couple bad words as I was watching the footage. I'd have to ask CJ about that. But yeah. Yeah, he said not good. Not good. James said he thought about that mouse today when I checked my boxes. Yeah, I get them. They run out every once in a while and kind of surprise me when you open the door. And they'll actually trip the trail cameras a lot too. So I see mice at the boxes all the time. Then when you're in the snow, you can see which boxes the mice are eating. And they eat the bait a lot, but they also spread the scent around, you know, and they spread that in the area. So I always thought it was a benefit to have them around the boxes. Yep, 3 points up high. Yep, okay. Connecticut Classic or CT Classic says, Joe, I'm going to the Moosehead. I'm going to Moose in February. What's your advice on burbot bait? Just dead bait. You could use like a piece of hot dog. If you catch some burbot and you got them, they're going to have crayfish in them. Those, if you put that crayfish back on, usually you can get like 2 or 3 out of each one. I guarantee you, most of the time it's not on the bottom for 2 seconds before you get another bite. They absolutely love eating crayfish. So, ND Mike says, do it with the Donnie updates. MTA Eagles says, Joe, getting a lease, North Main Woods. Spring of 27. Any recommendations, lessons you have on building your cabin? Just that cabin series I put up. I mean, that should be pretty helpful, I guess. JP Tapley, any thoughts on doing a meet, Joe, on the ice somewhere this year? Yes, I have to do it responsibly and respectfully to like the towns or the areas or the businesses where I'm around, because we're going to get a lot of people if I publicize that. So I'm trying to figure out the best place to do it where we could get enough parking and get enough people in and access. CJ and I were talking about one that might work. We were talking last night about it. Is Donnie hot tent camping in Canada? He is not hot tent camping in Canada. No, he's living. He's gonna have a nice soft winter and come back, hopefully ready to roll. Ryan Culler says, "What's the best bait to trap Fisher and Martin?" If you ask 99, if you asked 100 trappers, 99 are going to tell you beaver meat, and one guy's going to tell you partridge carcasses. And that one guy's going to be me. I pretty much only use partridge carcasses. I do add some beaver when I have it. I add some beaver that my other trapping partners have winterized for me, I guess, and made it so they won't freeze. But I love using partridge carcasses for bait. It's what they eat. It's what they love to eat, and I haven't seemed to have a problem with it. So. Andy Mike says that trail camera even caught a couple Maine Sam Squatches. That's funny, yeah. Dan says, "Hey Joe, I was wondering, in your opinion, which Connor bear did you like the least from last season? Really enjoy all the videos." So the one, without a shadow of a doubt, the one I like the least, and I usually don't talk or share negative stuff, but this is really important for trappers, and it might keep you from making the same mistakes I am. The worst one I've ever used was the Duke 155. And I went into the season thinking on paper it was the best possible Martin and Fisher trap that I could buy. You know, it had like the bigger, longer springs, had the full 5x5, and it ended up being the worst trap I've ever used in my life, and it made for extremely difficult first season back. And it had me really questioning a lot of things about my trap line and my ability. And I switched over to Belle Isle and Savage Joe this year, or CJ says it's Savage Joe. And it's just been a light years different. Like, don't mess around. Spend the money, get the best, get Belle Isles. I'd rather have 6 Belle Isles than 36 Duke 155s. Just being honest. If you could find days for bait, rookies love them. Very true. Kyle, you're the man. Die hard, love the content. I got a few fishing trips planned up to the village this winter. Oh, that'll be fun. Would love to fish with you sometime. Keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate that, Kyle. Yeah, if you're going to the village this winter, that has some of the best cusk fishing you will ever see, night or day. You can catch them all day if you want to. But PA Trapping says beaver sack oil. There you go. Yep. And good caster. Both work well as a long distance call. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Bo Thomas Anderson says, "Don't forget to like." Thank you, Joe. Hope you catch that fisher next time. Pulled the traps today. They were just too far away to keep in a 4 or 5 day rotation. Pulled them. So next time might be next year. I told CJ after watching the trail cam footage that next year we're going to have a fisher trap out there early, and he's probably going to set that one next year early. MHD Bison fan, hello from Minnesota. Kirk from Vermont, have you ever fished Crescent Lake in Raymond? If so, is the bass fishing good? Have you fished Crescent Lake? No, I don't think I have either. Do you know anything about bass there? No, me neither. Probably is good bass fishing. I mean, everything in Maine's really good bass fishing. Stephen Riley says, "Good evening, guys. Was wondering if you ever climbed in the log with a bear." Did not climb in that bear log. I did look in there. I put the camera in there, and I couldn't see anything, but it was really dark, and it stunk in there. So I was alone the last couple times I was over there, so I didn't want to get too far into it just in case. Mark J. Larson, if any of you get a chance, buy a tanned hide from Joe's Line. They're amazing. I have one of each in my man cave. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Mark, man, you are the best. Thank you for sharing that. Whitetail, waiting for a reply. Sorry I haven't got back to you guys. We've been going till after dark every day trapping real early in the morning. Then we get back and I shoot the live pretty much as soon as we get back. Haven't even eaten dinner yet, so I'm going to try to get back to everybody on that have emailed about the tanned hides. There's still a lot of time, so don't worry, no delay. I usually start getting my ducks in a row when the season's over and try to line up whoever's going to want them, and then I ship them to the tannery to get professionally tanned. So sorry about that, whitetail. I'll try to get to that either tonight or tomorrow, but I can't promise anything right away, but I will definitely get back to you on that. Daniel, yep, that answers that question. There's Dan's Midwest Angling. Thanks for tuning in. California, my buddy's son caught 14 cusk at the villages. The biologist figured it was over 80 years old. Oh, 14-pound cusk. 80 years old sounds a little unbelievable to me for a fish. 80? I don't know about that. I know cusk are old and long. They take a long time to grow, so maybe as old as 30. But I don't know. Maine biologists have never been wrong, so you could be right. Yeah, whitetail, I'll get back to you on that. Sorry about that. Ryan says, what's your best advice to trap a fisher or martin in a 10-day season? Because that's as long as our season in the UP is. All right, so even more than normal, you always want to be diligent, go through your traps, make sure all your traps are working perfectly. You have no time to make a mistake. Like we have a 60-day season here. You make a couple mistakes, you can recover from it. But in a 10-day season, you're not going to recover from it. So make sure your traps are in perfect working order. Your triggers work perfectly. Your springs are good. I set my springs ahead of time, save as much time, and be as efficient as you possibly can. Make sure you have the best long-distance call you can. Make sure you have good fresh bait if you can. Have 2 or 3 different scents to close that animal inside the box. Or I don't know if you guys have to use lynx exclusion devices or fisher exclusion devices like we do. And then do your map study. Get as much stuff done before the season, so when that 10-day season comes along, you're not wasting any time, because you don't have any time to waste in that quick of a season. Is Brandon healthy enough for his ventures this season? I think he is. Yeah, I do. I think he is. He's going to be good to go. MHD Bison says, I'm retiring in a few years and planning on a camping trip out your way. Going to reach out to you then and would love to meet both you and Donnie. Looking forward to it. Very good. Thank you. Kyle Ramsey, going to go up and show Jay Moore how it's done. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to hear some pretty good stories if you're going to the village and you're going to go see Jay Moore. Ask him about recut Kurt. That'll be a good story for you. Jay Olson, welcome. Commend you on keeping your cool and biting your tongue hard with that building inspector for the sink drainage. Yeah. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. Oh, my dad just tuned in and said my uncle's 7.5-pound bass was caught in Crescent Lake in Raymond. Very good. Yeah, so yeah, Crescent Lake, phenomenal bass fishing, I guess. If my Uncle Roy could catch one there, then it must be really easy fishing. ND Mike says sturgeon or paddlefish get real old here, but they're dinosaurs. Yeah. I mean, I know cusker do get old. Somebody can probably Google how old. You'd have to look up burbot or eel pout, and make sure you look up freshwater ones too, because there are saltwater. But I bet somebody could Google that. Or if I said, "Hey Siri, how old do freshwater burbot get?" Somebody's phone probably just went off. I don't have that on my phone, but yours did.
Yeah.
I just got CJ. What was the answer?
I didn't hear you on that.
Hey Siri, how old do freshwater burbot grow? Hopefully that trips somebody's. I don't always do that, but sometimes I'll be like, hey Siri, subscribe to Joe Holland on YouTube. And then my subscribers go through the roof. It's weird. Biologists say some of the lake trout in Canada could be 100 years old. Wow.
Freshwater burbot are long-lived fish, generally living 10 to 15 years, but can exceed 20 years in some areas like Alaska.
There you go. So CJ just read that. It says they get exceedingly old, 10 to 15 years, and can live up to 20 in Alaska, right?
Some areas.
Some areas of Alaska.
So we're like Alaska.
Dan's Midwest said, my father said it's basically going to melt down over there on Friday. Do you have a plan for the warm temps? I don't think so, man. I mean, the plan would have to be to hit the retreat button, and I ain't got much retreat in me, as you guys have seen over the years. So I'm going to still go hard. I'm still going to send it and see what happens. I don't always believe the weathermen. They've been wrong so many times. They're wrong almost as much as our fisheries biologists are in the state of Maine. And so, almost. The Polk says, I like it when you and Donnie lightly roast each other, then laugh. It's true friendship. Oh, man, we have so much fun. Donnie's one of the best people I've ever met. And he's just so quick to laugh and so funny. And we've just had so much fun together. And he's just got a great sense of humor. And we have a lot of, obviously, inside jokes. We have jokes that have gone for 30 years. And we just can't stop laughing when we're together. It's just so much fun. California was on my trap, but I had a killer cribbage hand. Oh, I bet you did. 3 years, 6, what were they, 7s, 8s, 6, 7, 8s, 6, 7, 8, 9? Whitetail said we have sturgeon here, but we're not allowed to catch them. Yeah, in North Dakota. Huh. Yeah, we have sturgeon. We have 2 types of sturgeon in Maine. We have short-nosed sturgeon, and we have Atlantic sturgeon, and we're not allowed to catch either one of those. Miguel said, biggest buck you shot. Big, really big. Didn't weigh it, so doesn't count. But shot one pretty big one. The biggest one I guess I have weighed is 236 pounds, field dressed. But I got one that kind of puts that one to shame. Nick said it might be a skating rink up there after Friday. So, yeah, as far as the weather goes, guys, we have about 14 inches of snow. I'd say an average of about 12 inches of snow. And it's supposed to warm up, they're saying, and get a half inch of rain and possibly warm up to a high of 50. Now, I don't believe it's going to hit 50, and they're talking 16 at night, that same night. So it's going to cool off quick. And if that rain comes late, as it's already cooled off, then it's going to be snow. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The Gel Man wants to know, how many miles did you put on your last Skidoo expedition? Sounds like you put the miles on everything. Yeah, I put on, it wasn't too bad because I don't trail ride. So it's just working miles. So I put on a little over 4,000 miles, I think. So average like 1,000 to 1,200 a year, I guess. This machine, I think I may have hit 600 miles already today, total for today. So we've had, CJ and I have had a couple days where we put 100. We're averaging like 75 to 80 running traps and setting traps right now. Yep. Hey, Joe, did you tell a story of how the Bearcat went through the ice? Was it just a thin spot they couldn't see? Yep, that's what it was. Yeah, I got CJ here. I call it like a honey pocket where there just wasn't any ice formed. And, you know, you hear people say like it was an underwater spring or something like that, but 175 foot deep. I honestly can't tell you why that spot wasn't frozen. Yep. Oh, Kyle knows Kurt as well. Good guy. Yeah, Kurt's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. Next time you talk to Kurt, ask him about his sleeper snowmobile. So, Ryan Culler, what do you recommend for long distance call and lure? Yes, we have a special box we have to use for Fisher and Martin. Okay, yeah, so just make sure everything's working perfectly. I would line the inside of your box, like behind the trap, with 3 or 4 different scents, like Martin, Fisher, Weasel, call lures. inside, not where he's going to be working, but where he has to get to for the bait. Wire your bait. Make sure your bait's secured in the back of the trap, and then for the long distance call, get pure skunk and get as much as you can afford and mix it with Vaseline. Melt the Vaseline down. I have a Fisher movie out. I think it's like an hour and a half movie on how to catch Fisher and how to be a better Fisher trapper. And I just share every bit of info I have about Fisher trapping. So you could search that and through my videos, and hopefully you pick up a few things there. D. Shabra caught a 12-pound cusk. That's awesome, man. I haven't seen many. I've seen a couple over like 10 pounds, and it's just a different animal when they get that big. And I'm curious on the age, like a true age. Tim Eldridge, this is his favorite channel. Appreciate that. Thank you. Scott is coming from New Brunswick, Canada. Yotis is maple syrup and hot water drink is awesome. Thanks for the tip. It's my favorite. It is absolutely awesome. Yep. Miguel said Fisher trapping can be phenomenal here in central New York. Just got to know where to go. Yeah, I saw a couple trappers had quite a few Fisher pelts over there, and they're trapping like a lot of farmlands, a lot of buffers, a lot of farm edges, and streams. Walleye Hunter said lake sturgeon can live 150 years or more. Well, that's pretty crazy. We don't have lake sturgeon in Maine. Greg DeBoer, when you asked, hey Siri, how old the bourbon? Yeah, my phone went off and told me all about Kentucky bourbon. Wow, that's weird. Yeah. Huh. Weird. MHD Bison fan got up to 49 today in west central Minnesota. West central Minnesota. So Brainerd area, or is that Brainerd? But it's going to drop into the freezer again in the next 48 hours. Nice. Good for you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome ice fishing year. I know it's shaping up to be a good one from the people I've talked to out that way. Well, Joe, the old war wagon's going to be taking a beating. Yeah, probably will. Why didn't you weigh your biggest buck? Oh, it's because I had to be in Florida the next day. I was fishing the Bass Pro Tour, the FLW Professional Bass Fishing Tour, and the season kicked off like a day or two later. So I ended up having it cut up and get it delivered to my friends. My friends actually kept that one for me in the freezer, and never weighed it. Yep. The warm and rain's going to help the ice compact the snow on it. Yeah, that should help. ND Mike, I wonder if you guys have the same subspecies of whitetail as we do. We get really big-bodied deer too. Between my brothers and I, we have won quite a few big buck contests, either by weight or antlers. Yeah, so Maine, we do have some deer that'll go in the 150, 160 inch. But like this year, I think the heaviest deer that I heard of was 291 pounds field dressed. So on the hoof, that's like, what, 350, 360 pounds on the hoof. So our deer in Maine are no joke, weight-wise. And in Maine, like to have a trophy buck, like the number is 200 pounds. That's like the number that the pundits have set to shoot a big buck in Maine. It's got to be 200 pounds field dressed. So, but yeah, we're gonna end this live pretty soon, guys. It's getting close to bedtime when you're at your off-grid camp. Mornings come quick up here. So if you guys have any really good questions, feel free to throw them in there or anything like that. Ice Fish Lake George and Canaan. Never fished that one. Adirondacks have a lot of fisher in the woods. Getting them around my chicken coop. Yep. There's Wally Outdoors. What's up? When and where are you ice fishing this year first? Can't wait to see the ice cam videos for this season. Most of the years, the first ice fishing trips I do are down by my buddy CJ's He just gets some really good ice early, and it's a lot of fun to fish with him anyway. And we get on a really good panfish bite, different panfish. So probably that way first. Doodle Flow, you seem like a wholesome dude. Yep, I'm no lightweight. Yeah, Al Fournier. Oh, Al, you don't even remember your hand. It was in the Portuguese paint thinner. Apricot brandy, pretty had. Read the owner of the camp, had some gifted to him. He refused to drink it. That's funny. Yeah. Ever think of becoming a nuisance Maine trapper? I did it in New Hampshire for 10 years and made some good money. Nah, I don't know why. I don't want to, I guess, make it look like a job or anything like that. I feel like I'm a nuisance to the animals enough already. So it's not something I thought of, but maybe I will in the future. We'll see. I've been asked to trap stuff here and there. So, yeah, Southern Ontario, I think, has the same deer we have to answer Outfish Ontario. West Central Minnesota, Moorhead to Detroit Lakes and Otter Tail County area. Oh yeah, Otter Tail County is awesome. Detroit Lake's awesome. Lake Place in my ice fishing area is Otter Tail and Becker counties. That's awesome. I ice fished Otter Tail County. If you look back at I shot a video with Alex Tim and Cody Hill. He's also a guide, I think, up in Otter Tail. And we shot an ice fishing video in Otter Tail County, and Alex hooked a 20-something pound muskie on 2-pound test or 3-pound test, and snagged it accidentally, and fought it for well over an hour. And I got a video on YouTube. If you go back and just search through my videos or hit the search button on it. 48 in Bismarck, North Dakota. Wow. Yeah. Winds of 80 miles per hour. That's pretty much straight sideways, if you ask me. Oh, all right. So Andy Mike Googled it. Maine has the biggest bodied whitetail subspecies. That makes sense. Yeah. We have some big bodied deer, like huge. Deer in Maine are burial forest species. Oh, I think you mean boreal, but we make them into burial forest species. Uncle Buck's Forge, there he is. Supposed to warm up. Hope the coon move. I've got a bunch of dog proof out. Good luck, buddy. That's awesome. Our winning buck's usually 2 to 220. That's a big buck, yeah. Scott Outdoors. I checked my first martin line after 160 trap nights and had 1 miss and no catches. Am I doing something wrong? Expected catch rate. I can't answer that not knowing where you are, Scott, and like the areas, but yeah, something's wrong there if you have 0 catches and 1 miss. I probably won't be on this long enough to find out where you're from or what the area is, but yeah, you need to get those numbers in the right direction. Steven Simons caught his first martin using beaver. Only have 2 boxes out now and need a fish or cat. Really enjoying these live chats. And you have a gift for Donnie. Okay, thank you. Mark, thanks for tuning in. What do you use for the washroom when you're ice camping? Just like baby wipes. You can keep yourself really clean. Or are you talking bathroom? Yeah, I don't use baby wipes for the bathroom. But you could use the woods if you're in a wilderness area. If you're not, you can bring a bucket and some trash bags. All right. Sounds like we're dropping numbers here. I'm going to tune out, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody on the super chats. Got some really good videos coming up next couple days. If you're still here, you wait 1 second. I'll give you an update on what videos are coming up. So tomorrow night is going to be running a wilderness trap line for Fisher. So that should be a good one. Be ready for that one. It's over 30 minutes long. The next day is ice fishing for lake trout, salmon, and cusk. That's 32 minutes. Next one is going to be another ice fishing one with some really big lake trout from Maine. And the next one's going to be big lake trout and landlocked salmon. So right now I have 4 nights uploaded for the next 4 nights. I don't have anything after that. We're making the content now, and I just haven't had any time to edit. So that's going to do it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate all the support. Have a great night, and I will see you on the next one.